with this knowledge, you can come up with your own model, right? Your own research model. And of course, you read theories as well, right? You read certain relevant theories. So with your knowledge in that subject matter and also with the knowledge in one or two theories, then you can draw your own model, graphical model especially, like I will suggest you to write, you draw your graphical model, right? Maybe some of you will like to use mathematical model to support this theoretical model again. You just go ahead. So you will develop this theoretical framework, right? A research model, a graphical model developed based on the theory with regards to that subject matter. Okay, so you must have one theory, for example, theory of planned behavior. Okay, so you may have other theories, psychological theory, behavioral theory, experience theory, consumer behavior theory, needs theory, expectations theory, perception theory. You just go and discover the relevant theory for your research, right? You can Google it, right, and find the right and appropriate theory. I would like to see what kind of appropriate new theory relevant to your study. One student or one researcher must have one theory. You must specialize in one theory. And of course, in your subject matter, in this case, let's say tourist experience is your subject matter. And then theory, like theory of, let's say, planned behavior. You may have other theories. Please go and find them. So in this theoretical framework, you will have an opening paragraph, introduction, one paragraph, and then you bring us to this figure, right? So you can say figure 1 shows the theoretical framework for this study. Then you can show us the graphical model, nicely drawn graphical model. You have already tried this one, right? So, and then after that, you will systematically develop the hypothesis, right? So you will draw the theoretical framework from left to right. Left, normally your independent variable, right? And then in the middle, you may have the moderating or intervening variable. Then on the right-hand side, you have the dependent variable, right? So in a theoretical framework, you will have the independent variable, you will have the moderating or intervening variable, and also the dependent variable, right? All the variables are shown there. Name them nicely, draw the boxes and arrows nicely connecting one to the other. If they are the composition of the variable, then you will use continuous line instead of arrows, right? I've already told you this, right? And if you have group of variables or dimensions, you want to systematically group them, you can use, let's say, dotted line of the box, and then with all those border using dotted line and so on, right? So use nice arrows and so on, okay? You may use a rectangular shape boxes. You can use a square shape. You can use an oval shape and so on. Please refer to as many drawings as possible to get the creative ideas of how to draw this model of yours nicely. Okay. So all the variables in this research will be shown in the graphical model, and you will explain them one by one. Describe the variable and explain the relationship one by one. That's why you have hypothesis 1, one paragraph, hypothesis 2, hypothesis 3, and so on. Or you have propositions. Okay. Okay, some of the researchers, they use propositions, right? Because they don't really have the measurable variables yet. So there are concepts or constructs which are not really measurables yet, right? And they are proposing this kind of variables. Okay.
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Uh, kalau kalau topik saya pasal impact of COVID-19 on business, what should I write on the on the introduction on literature, on the theoretical frameworks. What should I write?
The theoretical framework, the first paragraph is introduction, right? Introduction, basically you can revisit the objective of the study and then just lead us to the figure. Okay. Yours may be the first hypothesis or the first proposition. You will concentrate on the impact, right? For example, the social impact. So you can just talk about the social impact first. Then you will talk about the economic impact as a second hypothesis could be. And then the third hypothesis could be other aspect of impact. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So systematically, just portray what you have discussed or described in the literature review. I'm sure in your literature review, you will be talking about this COVID-19 pandemic and some of the scientific aspects of how it could be affecting the society and also the socio-economic consequences of this pandemic, right? So in the literature review, you will tell us the various impacts systematically, and those will be how to say used in explaining your theoretical framework, okay, or your conceptual framework, okay.
Okay.
All right, so that is a graphical model. Please refer to many examples. I would like to remind you, you always like to refer to examples to get the ideas of how to draw them nicely. There is no one specific drawing that can fit all the research projects. So you need to refer and find the right one, okay? And you can always refer to that. And with this theoretical framework, you have this model to guide you, right? Just like an engineer, you have your engineering plan, locality plan, and floor plan, and so on. So this is like your engineering plan, right, for this entire research, right? So in order to how to say know these variables and know the relationships of all these variables, you will propose the right research design, the methodology, right? What will be the methodology, how to do this research, okay? So you will have an introduction under your methodology, saying that this research will be to get information with regards to this, and the nature of the research is, let's say, using a mixed method, right, or triangulation methods, whereby you will use qualitative research to for what purposes, and also you will use the quantitative research method for what purposes, and so on, so that the research objectives will be achieved, right? So you say something about that in your introduction, so that we as a reader, we know that, hey, this methodology consists of this kind of methods for what purposes, and so on, and then why you are using those methodology. And 9.2, you specifically will tell us the qualitative research, well, we call it the qualitative phase, right? Qualitative phase should be qualitative phase, huh? PHAR should be phase, huh? Not R. Okay, qualitative phase, because this stage, at this stage, is a qualitative research. Okay, because we want to know the nature of the problem and also the motives behind and the characteristics just in a qualitative manner, right? Remember, you have learned the reason why do we actually carry out this qualitative research, all right? So you tell us the reasons why you have this qualitative phase, and then you may use this qualitative interview, right? Meaning to say you will just carry out an in-depth interview, right? With the selected small number of people, right? To roughly understand the problem, right? Qualitative interviews using most likely in-depth interview, right? You may use in-depth interviews, right? You use in-depth interviews, or some people may use this focus group, right? Focus groups techniques, right? Focus group is a group interview in this case, right? Yeah. So you can use this kind of qualitative interview, right? Method. And you will tell us what questions you will ask in this qualitative interview, right? Of course, we will learn in detail of all these techniques in near future, but I just want to tell you in your proposal, you should have all this, okay? And tell us the questions that you will ask, and include also the interview form in this section of your proposal. And of course, during this pandemic time, you will not go and meet the interviewees physically. So you will use online interviews, online mechanism like using Google Meet, using let's say Zoom, or using Skype, or using let's say WhatsApp group interviews, video call, and so on. So you tell us the method that you use, but you need to show us the questions and also the form. You have to design the interview form consisting of few questions that you are asking. All right. And after that, you will have the sampling technique, right? How will you select, let's say, these 30 respondents, right? Tell us how many and then how will you select. And then how will you collect using this online mechanism? How will you collect the data? And also, how will you analyze the data that you have collected later, right? So you will have to tell us, let's say you will use the content analysis and so on to analyze the content. So for instance, you will use the content analysis. And then how will you do that, right? How will you do that content analysis, the procedures and so on. So you need to do a kind of search on all this, and then later on, of course, in next week or week after next, I will share with you how all this can be done. Okay. And after that, you will proceed to the quantitative phase. Any questions so far?